See, this thing about rights, what you have to know is there are those out here who work for municipalities that have been conditioned and trained and hypnotized to consider that a buzzword. And when they hear that buzzword, they will react a certain way because they've been instructed and conditioned to do so. And in short, those are usually the biggest victims. See, that thing called right, inherent right, substantive right, basic right, preserved right, affirmed right, all that, that is spiritual in nature, because rights are merely just ideas, concept, and principle that you bring to life by your words and your deed. And the moment someone tries to get in between that substance that you're bringing to life, that means they themselves are hindering your pursuit to life, liberty. And if someone is so determined to do that, then that shows that their level of intelligence quota is so low. Because if they knew the value of those rights that they consider buzzwords or as a doorway to take advantage of people just to try to prove a point, because most of these people out here would try to prove a point. Oh, you're speaking about your rights, I will make you hurt for it. Most of these types of employees of these municipalities have never been around the world. They've never traveled outside of the little box that they exist in. They've never been to other part of the world whereby these rights don't exist. Because if they've had that experience, they would know that what they have here is not something that they themselves ought to be or should be infringing on. The moment they hear that word right, they would support it. And that also tells you that their level of intelligence is so low that they don't even know what applies to them. They themselves don't value themselves. And because of that, they constantly look for victims. Because of that, they are easily controlled. The basic thing that separates North America, you hear a lot of people say America, land of the free, this and that. What makes it so free and great is the fact that these basic rights exist. If you've ever been to other parts of the world, no matter how beautiful it is, you will begin to value what you have here at North America. And to see other people deliberately go out of their way looking for certain terms, certain words like rights, basic rights, constitution, as a doorway to take advantage of others, shows the level of low intelligence that man or woman has. And since those basic rights are a realm of substance that you can't quite see or touch, but you can bring it to life to the point where you see it and touch it, that's the best part. Whoever tries to get in between you and that substance, believe it or not, they are victims. Now, this is what I mean when I say they're victims. Whether or not you believe in things of spiritual nature, whatever you want to call it, it exists and it's real. And those type of people that try to get in between the essence of what you are usually the most loose and open in those realms. Whoever tries to get in between you and your essence, do not spare them. For those of you who know how to use certain things on a spiritual level, this is a reminder. Do not spare them. You should be their nightmare. You should be their woe. You should be the calamity in their life on a spiritual level. Every time you interact with someone, you live an energy signature with that man or woman, and they live their energy signature on you. That enough suffice to touch things without touching things. And most of these people that live in a small box that have been conditioned to hear certain words and use it as an advantage, or look at certain appearance and use it to take advantage of others because of whatever deficiency they might have in their lives. And because of that, they themselves continue the will and cycle of what many people in the past have died for to preserve. so that this part of the world will be different from the rest of the world. Although they might not know that. Maybe it's time for you to assist them know it by making the incorporeal thing that precedes that paperwork of yours, that precedes your presence. Use that incorporeal substance of it to really get solution. Let that be your beginning. If you've yet to be familiar with it and you're thinking about its validity, go deeper into it. If you're still afraid of it and you think you're not ready, it's okay. Put it into consideration. Put it into the forefront of your mind. You don't have to grab it and put it to use yet, but know it exists. And even if you've been shunning it, know that at some point nature will compel you to get to a point where you begin to think about or start to study about how to use certain things to get things done on a realm you cannot see. Because if you let that precede you, people who are usually comfortable with deteriorating even their rights, their own rights, the moment they infringe on others, they themselves are deteriorating their rights without realizing it. People like that, people of low intelligence quota on that level, you will be their woe. No one should get away with infringing on something that's the most basic about you. And the best way, believe it or not, to protect an inherent right, which is incorporeal, but you bring it to life through your deeds and your words. The best way to protect that incorporeal thing, that substance, is through the realm of substance and incorporeal also. It's good to sue people. It's good to write letters and papers and all that. But something else must precede that goes beyond what you can observe, feel, and experience with your five senses. Stop for a minute and think about that. Things exist in this world that goes beyond what you see, what you hear, smell, and feel. Those things affect you and everyone else's activities every day. The beautiful part is you are directly connected to that. Put it to use. Put it to use. Put the essence of what you are to use. Most of you out there, you are far more spiritually powerful than you will ever realize. Far more spiritually powerful than your pastors. Far more spiritually powerful than your spiritual mentors. All you have to do is believe in yourself. There are already legions assigned to you to assist you do what you need to do. All you have to do is call on them and put them to use. They're waiting on standby to go to work for you. Put your spiritual essence to use. Don't let spirituality be a mere feel-good conversation, just like all these intellectual jack-off with all these pen and paper stuff. Put it to use. Just like rights are like muscles that you have to exercise to get better at, just like where someone else's rights end is where another man's right begins, so is spirituality. You have to exercise that willpower, that strength, for you to be able to put it to use. Yeah. Begin to put it to use. Just try it. Test it. But in the process of you trying and testing it, the most important thing is trust it. Try it, trust it, but trust it at most. Create that trust relationship between that thing that you are part of, that you can't quite touch, see, smell, hear, or feel. And sometimes when you feel it, it is in the most subtle way. Put it to use. Let that be your first line of offense and defense, and see how things change. No one should be able to trespass against you and get away with it. You can touch someone without touching them. Start doing that. You don't necessarily have to be foolish and do crazy things that you see people do and put themselves in risk of battery, assault, all that. No, you don't have to do that. There's way too much solutions on the spiritual realm for you to be dealing with that. When people speak of spirituality, they think lovey-dovey, hippie, all that. No. Go get some work done. If you're really that serious about your rights and someone infringes on you and you want to protect yourself, then get some work done in a realm in the world that you can't quite see. And the best part for you is people with low intelligence quota that are willing to infringe on you with impunity. They are the weakest in the spiritual realm.